Barbados' four main trade unions and business leaders send a strong message as they draw the support of thousands in a massive march. That's the story we're tracking in the Barbados Today Evening News for Monday, July 24. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. With the strong backing of a crowd estimated to be over 20,000, officials of the Barbados Workers Union, the National Union of Public Workers, the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, the Barbados Union of Teachers, and the Barbados Private Sector Association declared their joint march a success. And they are hoping that the Freundel-Stewart administration sees it as nothing more than a loud call from Barbadians to return to the bargaining table to discuss tough austerity measures, particularly the controversial National Social Responsibility Levy. For just over 2 hours, citizens from all walks of life urged the government to listen to their pleas for relief. Most of them told Barbados Today they are hoping that government gets the message.
What we want is for you to listen to our suggestions, just at least consider us, consider what we're saying, you know, and so that we can work together and try to lift Barbados out of this state, because things are only going to get worse. And once they get worse, it's going to affect every last one of us in Barbados. And I think that's the point that we're trying to make, you know. We have to work together. We are one people, one nation. We need to come together and just hear us, listen to us.
And the big picture is not political. When I came out, I was hoping, and I'm glad to see that it has not been heavily politicized by the opposing parties. It is for Bajans in general. Yes, the NUPW and the unions and the private sector put it together, but it's not 100% political. Yes, it is meant to put pressure on the political party in power, but it's not a political movement.
It's just not about one person, it's about everybody. It depends on everybody. It's not dependent on the cabinet that runs the country. Understand that we, the people of Barbados, is who put you there. That is all it is about, is we coming together. And I think that when you say something about one person, you should be included in everybody. It's not your one decision, it is everybody's decision. So I think that we have a point that we can prove.
I think that the march sends a message through to Barbados, to every institution in Barbados that has leadership, in the leadership position. I think the march has sent that to them. And I hope that from here on, things will improve. I really hope so. For workers and for the people of the country as a whole.
The crowd returned to its starting point at Queen's Park, where union leaders and private sector officials addressed several issues raised by Prime Minister Freundel-Stewart, who blasted the march as ill-conceived and political at a party luncheon yesterday. NUPW President Akani McDowell, in his address, turned the tables on the Prime Minister's charge that the union was disrespectful to his office.
Now I am angry and I am disappointed that the Prime Minister will use a lunchtime lecture to respond to Barbadians on such a serious issue. That is a fact. We have been asking for dialogue, but instead we got a response from the Prime Minister through a lunchtime meeting. Now people say that I am disrespectful. People say that Tony is disrespectful. People say that Mary is disrespectful. And people say that Pedro is disrespectful. But I want to ask you a question. Is that disrespectful? Yes! Did the Prime Minister disrespect us? Yes! What he did was disrespectful. He should have addressed the nation. It is a serious issue.
And when President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redmond, took to the podium, she attempted to clear the air on the Prime Minister's revelation that the two sides had agreed at a meeting on June 23rd that public servants would receive a salary increase in September. Redmond insisted that no such assurance was given and promised follow-up meetings have still not been held. At the same time, the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers' Union, Tony Moore, expressed concern that the country's social partnership is underperforming because of the government's lack of cooperation. Meanwhile, political scientist Peter Wickham says today's massive turnout speaks for itself, and the Prime Minister is obligated to respond.
It's a reflection of the fact there's a lot of frustration. You know, over the past few days, we have been splitting hairs about whether this is motivated by one thing or another, whether there's a racial factor or whatnot. But what I'm seeing today, to me, tells me that there are just a lot of people that are fed up, and that is really a reflection of it. Whether you are concerned about the NSRL, whether you're concerned about the lack of communication, I do see that this crowd speaks to an evolving sentiment of just fed upness. My question is, after this, what? Will this feeling or this sentiment subside, or will this sentiment get worse, and what are the expressions that this sentiment will give rise to? So those are my areas of concern.